So coming up this Monday, 7:45 p.m. Eastern kickoff. I just saw that. It's been reported a couple places. So if you're waiting, 7:45 p.m. Eastern. So that way you skip through all the fluff, the beginning, set your alarm right for there. You'll get to kickoff right away. Michigan favored by 4.5 versus number 2 Washington. And before we get to like really diving in these two teams, I had a big picture topic I wanted to pick your brain about, Tony.
All right.
Because we've heard all season from various people that star rating recruiting was the end all be all of what makes a good team. And we talked about all the different teams in the past, the Georgias, the Alabamas, with the stockpile of 5 stars. But in this national championship game, we have a grand total of 2 5 stars combined. And it's JJ and Will Johnson. That's it. So, Tony, do you think that with NIL and transfer portal and all of these things that are happening now to entice players to stay for player development, do you think we're seeing a bit of a changing of the tide, so to speak, or a turning of it? Or do you think this is kind of just a fluke year for the national championship?
Well, I think there's a little bit, a couple of, this is just my personal opinion. I think there's a couple of different things going on. The first one is, by the way, those people that do those talent rankings are not all-seeing gods. They don't always know exactly how good these kids are. I mean, how many, 5-star, how many Tate Martells are there of the world? And so, are they hit or miss? Yeah, they're hit or miss. They miss some, they hit on some. So, you kind of have to look at like talent also evolves. One of the things that I think is an issue sort of in this era of these star ratings, right, is, they pick these kids at like 14 and they knight them at age 14 and then they rise from there. You think about a kid, like, let's look at Jackson Dart, who was he won the Gatorade like National Player of the Year, but really didn't take off until his senior year. And so people poo-pooed him. Kid should have been a 5-star. He was Gatorade National Player of the Year. But they poo-pooed because they all had their eyes on, the kids that they had anointed at age 14. The 7-on-7 camp with 14-year-olds. So I do take with a grain of salt those rankings. But what the transfer portal era and the NIL era lets us do, I believe, is it lets us kind of narrow things out. Now, if you go back, by the way, nothing is new in college football. So when we think about like, oh my gosh, it's taking talent away from the big teams. Darrell Royal and Bo Schembechler and Tom Osborne, John McKay. John McKay supposedly used to just fill up the USC football team with anybody he was afraid UCLA might get. Bo Schembechler did the same thing. Darrell Royal did the same thing. Tom Osborne had like 800 walk-ons. So, the idea that the talent is now kind of leaking out of some of these broader programs is exactly the same discussion they had when they said you have to go from unlimited scholarships or whatever they were to 85. And also, by the way, college used to be a lot cheaper. So, for example, the University of California was free. So it was easier to get kids to come. So none of this is new, that talent is sort of democratizing a little bit. And I think that that's a really good thing. And what the transfer portal era lets you do is it lets you take kids and move them around, maybe find a better situation. I mean, a lot of these kids, whatever it is, whether it's scheme, whether it's coaching, whether it's whatever. And, sometimes whether it's a football player, whether it's us in a new job, whether it's a dating relationship, whatever, sometimes you just need to start over. And so you look at a guy like Michael Penix Jr., look at Bo Nix, you just to be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to go to somewhere new. We're going to sort of start over. We're going to reset. It's maybe a better fit. And you get that opportunity. And I think that is a really, kind of a good thing that we have going on right now. It also lets teams fill holes more quickly. It let USC fill the hole with Jordan Addison, that you got Caleb Williams, you got the pieces that you needed. But I think there is very much something to be said for, having that talent. Now you can debate whether, Jim Harbaugh's evaluation of talent is better than that random guy in a basement who assigns star ratings for fill in the website. Um, again, I don't know. Is Jim Harbaugh a better evaluator of talent, or is that guy? Different people may have different opinions. I'll be
It's
honest.
true.
It's flip a coin, but I mean, you have that question because there are coaches who who can do that and who can look and be like, okay, that's what I need on my team. I need that kind of kid. I need that guy. I mean, we looked at, you see, I'll tell you this as a USC alum, who we've had some phenomenally quote talented guys who didn't work out. Right now, we're looking at 5-star quarterbacks going to the G5s. Why are they going to the G5s? Because maybe they weren't as good. I mean, look at USC right now, for example, where Miller Moss, sent the 5-star packing essentially. Now, Miller Moss was people forget, by the way, Miller Moss is not like, I mean, Miller Moss is he's like a student leader, he beloved member of the fraternity, all this stuff. But people forget he was a high 4-star, like one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country would come out of high school. We act like he came out of nowhere. He did not come out of nowhere. But that kind of talent end, I think, is something that is changing, is democratizing.
Yeah, and so I think scouting and like going beyond just using 247 as a shopping list and actually like looking at somebody like a Josiah Stewart from Coastal Carolina who
Yeah,
made incredible play in the Bama game, and like that's the type of thing. Like maybe without that play, maybe it's Alabama versus Washington. I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like I think that there's just recruiting and star ranking is a data point. It will be a data point, and I
exactly.
respect that data point. But I'm glad that we're coming to a realization now with this national championship matchup that there may be more to it.
Well, and also, and I mean, PFF does some of this too, right? But like, what you are at 18 is not who you are at 22 after 3 years
Right.
of nurturing and grooming and all that. That just there's a difference for those kids that I think is huge and is underestimated. Oh, he was a 5-star, maybe, but this kid got better. This kid got taller. This kid got bigger. This kid got slower. This kid never really healed from an injury. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in there that I think really change that.
Absolutely. So neither of these teams, Tony, have been to the national championship game in the CFP era. Obviously, Washington did go in 2016, I believe, against Alabama. Kind of got stomped a little bit. And then, of course, Michigan has been twice before and embarrassed by Georgia. And then the disappointing
The clown show.
TCU, clown show. Also, I want to yeah. So the last national championship then was before the national championship game even happened. So 97 Michigan, 91 Washington. So what do you think that means? I mean, just from like looking at this game, somebody is going to win their first natty in
A while.
3 decades.
I think it's good for the sport. The national championship should be won by more than 5 teams. And so I think it's good for the sport that one of these teams is gonna win it. I mean, both, and let's remember, some folks who are younger may not understand, like, and as a Trojan, I don't necessarily like this, but the way the old Pac-12 used to work was that, and I'm trying to think if the Big Ten doesn't really kind of have this sort of mindset, but Washington ran the North and USC ran the South, almost like a Game of Thrones style. You've got like the Lannisters and the Starks or whatever, and they both kind of rule their little fiefdoms, and it works out. It works. Just
Yeah.
sort of works. That's how it was. But then, Washington spent so far down. They had their probation in the 90s. They struggled with ups and downs. They had their winless year, so having Washington back is good for the sport, I think. Same with Michigan. Having Michigan back is good for the sport. You're also talking about, and people will tell me that this doesn't matter, but I think it does. You're talking about 2 great universities. I mean, these are world-class great universities. Washington, by the way, those of you guys who follow global rankings, Washington is like above Princeton in the global rankings. Washington is an outstanding university. I have exes from there. I have friends from there. I've
Yeah,
been on their
friends
campus.
from
It is
there
a
too.
beautiful place. It is what, especially when the cherry blossoms are going. It's one of the most stunning places I've ever been in my life. It's gorgeous. Michigan, obviously a great school. They both have huge healthcare systems, huge
Sure.
hospitals. And I've said this for John probably knows it. Some of you guys may not know. I've said for years, Washington is probably the most Big Ten like school that wasn't in the Big Ten. And I don't know if you guys remember on Mark's show, the day USC and UCLA joined the Big Ten, I said I would expect Washington will join. I was surprised
I
they didn't
remember.
take Washington at the time because Washington is a very Big Ten-ish school. I mean, and they've got the dog and they've got the band and the tradition, and it's a great place. And so I think having one of these two, having both these two schools together here, really creates a win-win for the sport. It creates a win-win for the conference. I wish it was SC instead of Washington, but I think it's a good thing overall for the conference and the sport.